Hello, good morning, or at least that's what it is for me right now. And I'm wearing my ears today, so look super cute. And yeah, I hope you're having a nice day. I just wanted to make a quick video and talk to you about The Ring, because I finally finished reading the original Japanese novel that everything's based off of, and I rewatched Ringu, the Japanese movie, and I just have so many thoughts and no one to share them with, so let's go. Everything is different and it's fucking mind-blowing, alright? I'm on my way to the shop and I am too tired to do this. I will talk to you later. Alright, so let's just go back to the beginning. I wanted to read the book because if you watched my videos, you know that The Ring and The Grudge are sort of the ground pillars for my love of horror, and it has to come from somewhere. So if it's all from this book, I'm gonna read it, is what I thought 3 or 4 or 5 years ago is when I thought this. So that's when I bought the book and started reading it, and I think I read the first chapter like on 10 different occasions and I never actually got through it. But this time I finished it. Like it's not a very long book, it's like 200 pages. So when I first actually did it and just read a little bit every day, it was no problem and I got right through it. And then I watched the movie again and it's holy shit, I'm at a personal crisis. Like, the feeling that I was sitting with while watching the movie was that I had lost a friend. Or, I don't know, that I lost 2 friends, because the 2 main characters of the book that I had spent so much time with and really grown to connect with, they were switched out. Or, I don't even know what to call it. But they just took like the 6, 8, I don't know how many main characters and rearranged them and sort of squeezed them into 3 people, like all of them. Let's just make these, change the story, change the character development, everything, and let's just mash it all together so it won't be that too many names to keep track of in a movie, or too complicated, or I don't know why they would do it. I have no idea why. But in the book, Asakawa is a male journalist who has a wife and a child. It's written quite sexist, I would honestly say. That he is like, one example is his Asakawa's wife is asking questions like, what the fuck is going on? Like, I can obviously tell something is wrong, like, please talk to me. And he's just like, in his mind, and he's just like, I've learned over the years the best way to get a woman to shut up is to be quiet. And it was just, alright, yeah, that's great. Like, your wife's just this stupid thing you have to keep outside of everything genius that's going on in your head and in your world. But at the same time, after spending so much time with them, I really grew quite fond of them. And even Riju, who in the novel he's a professor and a rapist. Like, he tells in detail several occasions that he has raped people or women, and it's quite, some of his attitudes are quite out there. And I felt like in the beginning I was like, I really don't like this guy, like I really don't like him. But he was sort of, I don't know, the book wouldn't have been the same without him, because he was so full of life and so full of passion, and he didn't take anything too seriously. And I don't know, he was just a great addition to the book, and just so important. And I just can't, oh my god, I can't. If I think about the movie, the Riju that's in the movie, like that, oh my god, they're divorced. Why? Like, Asakawa has a wife and a child that he's trying to protect, and he keeps them outside of everything that's happening. Plot twist, they end up watching the movie, so he does have to save them too. And they've sort of just squeezed all of that. Like, in the movie, I'm sorry, there's a car, but in the movie, they made Asakawa a woman. Like, alright, modernizing it a bit. Instead of it being an extremely sexist character, you just made him a woman, so he can't be sexist anymore. And now it's only Riju, who's now become her ex-husband and the father of their joint child. They leave the sexism up to him, and it's still like waves of it throughout the movie, just coming from him towards his wife and child. And I don't know, it's just so weird, because the depth and the realism of the story that was in the novel was just so much more to me. Then when I watched the movie again, it was just so thin and it's so cringy. Like, the female character, I felt like her development, her reactions, it was just, I could tell some scenes, I'll wait for this car, some scenes were just completely made up. Like, this has no grounds whatsoever in what the novel contains. And then other scenes, like when they are digging her Sadako's body out of the well, it's it's identical. Like the way Ruji is at the bottom, Asakawa pulling the buckets up and he faints, and even right down to the dialogue of them switching places and him having to tell her, think about your child, he needs you, that's what gives her power to go down there. And in the novel he tells Asakawa, think about your wife and child. It's almost identical, and at the same time you don't get all those personal battles that Mr. Asakawa went through in his head. And I don't know, I just found the female characters so like cringy and thin. Like, when did this happen? Like, I haven't seen that before. Alright, so wearing a mask and everything, you know, it's that time of life. It's the mask season. Yeah, now I'm just rambling. I don't even know what I'm saying. Oh, my scarf is almost evacuating right there. That's lovely. It's honestly so fucking awkward meeting people while wearing a mask, and you're like, you get eye contact, but then all you see are their eyes. Like, what does their face say? Like, you don't know what their face says. That car was so loud. But yeah, like, I just smiled at that woman, and I think she smiled at me. Well, she wasn't wearing a mask. That's the thing, because we're outside, so I don't have to wear one either. That's like, you sort of forget that you don't really have to wear it, but yeah, you never know if they're smiling back or not. Like, sometimes you can really tell on their eyes or their cheeks just fly right up there, but with a lot of people you can't tell. Like, are you angry at me right now? Are you serious? I don't know. I can't see your face. I am a bit hung up on the 7 days thing. Like, I don't really know where that came from. Or of course it is in the novel. Like, that's the basics, you know? You watch the tape and you die within 7 days. But in the American one, you get a phone call and the woman says, 7 days. And so you know you have 7 days. In the original novel, only some of them get a phone call, not all of them. And when you answer the phone, there's no one there. Like, there's no stupid monster telling you you have 7 days. It's just nothing, which I think is probably leading to a lot of people not taking it seriously. And what he's met with in the world, Asakawa, when presenting this theory, is just like doubts and misbelief, and people are like, seriously? You believe in like a viral ghost tape? And that's so weird because you didn't see any of that in the horror movie. In the movie, it's just like the rumor is everywhere already. Everybody has heard about this tape. Of course, it's not. In the novel, it's Asakawa discovering sort of the tape and its history and its charm. And oh, the charm is like how to break the spell. Curse. It's curse? Anyway, it's history. Like, he unravels it. It's unknown to people. And in the movie, it's just like pop culture. Like, everybody at school, everyone is talking about these tapes. So it's more like thrown in their face a lot more. And I don't even really know what to say. But I don't know. It's definitely an interesting point, because I would definitely say that in the American one, it's a lot more iconic. Like, there's nothing more iconic than the fact that you watch this tape, you'll get a phone call that says 7 days, and in 7 days, a woman will crawl out of your TV and you will die. That is another thing that just sort of blew my mind, and that's that there is no crawling out of any TVs in the novel. She doesn't even ever come out of the well. Like, she's dead. Like, she's not there anymore. Like, that's sort of the thing. She just had extreme psychic abilities when she was alive, and her death was so horrible, a lot more horrible than it is in the movie, I tell you. But I feel like they explain it, that she lingers on and this curse lingers on because her powers were so powerful. Like, she had spiritual powers unlike anyone, or stronger than anyone else in the world. Oh my god, it's so heavy to carry all of this, and I'm sure it's making you a lot of noise while I'm walking, and I'm just talking about this because I don't know, I just need to get it out of my brain because it's been so much of it lately, and in order to put it behind me, I just wanted to tell somebody about it, and I don't have anyone to call, or because you sort of need someone who's seen the movies, or one of the movies, or who knows of the franchise for them to even find this remotely interesting. So, you know, I'm counting on you guys. Alright, so I'm inside now, trying to figure out the rest of my thoughts, and they are in here somewhere. I don't know what to say, really. I've always loved Ringu, and I credited it with being the origin of so much of the greatest horror. I'm left with a very different feeling now. I think of the film more as a cheap presentation of a forbidden ghost story. Like, I don't know what to say. The movie was truly a legend of its era, and when I watched it at 10 years old, it scared me to death. I just feel so different now. Like, it's like the movie sort of lost its value. At the same time, I really didn't find the book scary at all. Like, it was more of a mystery, maybe a little bit of a thriller, but not horror. Like, I would definitely not categorize it as horror. It's a ghost story, like, that's just what it is. That said, the novel definitely managed to surprise me quite a bit a few times, where I honestly couldn't do anything but just blankly stare up from the pages and just, I don't know, stare into oblivion. Like, what on earth did I just read? And how is this related to the movie I've known forever? Like, I don't know. Luckily for you, you don't have to read it, because I'm gonna share some of those things with you right now. Let's just talk a little bit more about the tape. Because in the movie, it uses very simple, disturbing imagery to make the viewer feel uncomfortable. Like, they show you gore and things that would make you squirm, regardless of the context you were seeing these things in. In the novel, however, it doesn't really describe anything that would be visually disturbing, other than maybe a cut, a wound, a bleeding wound on someone's shoulder. Like, that's the most graphic. And the dancing baby genitals. Like, I don't know. Okay, I'm gonna read this to you. So in this scenario, just imagine in the movie, yes, in the movie, when Asakawa, the woman creature, is watching the tape in the hotel room. This is like over midway through the tape. First he says that he smells blood from maybe a womb, and he's holding a baby. And he says he felt it in his arms while watching the film, and then he looked at his lap, and then he looked at the screen, and the screen was showing the baby's face. In spite of the crying, its face had swatched in a peaceful expression, and the shaking of its body had spread to its groin, even wiggling its little thing. And the next scene, 100 of human faces. What? I know the movie so well, right? The videotape is watching fingernails get torn off of people. It's not watching tiny little newborn babies wiggle their little thing. Why do you say that? The shaking of its body had spread to its groin, even wiggling its little thing. Why would you describe that to me? Why would you want me to imagine a baby wiggling its little thing while reading this? I don't understand. It's not disturbing like in a scary way, but it's disturbing in like a I don't know way. Let's talk about the character we lost or gained, you know, depending on how you look at it. But I feel that both of the male leads in the novel were killed off to make the half-assed married couple that we follow in the movie. Ruji was like the best. Like, even though I say he's a rapist and I kind of hated him for half of the book, he was the fucking best, and I just don't want to experience this world without him. Like, it sucks. But of course he was also the worst, so let me just share with you an example of how he sort of views the world, with what he replied when presented with the question, "Tell me about your dreams for the future." Calmly, Ruji had replied, "While viewing the extinction of the human race from the top of a hill, I would dig a hole in the earth and ejaculate into it over and over." What? What? You're gonna what? Why? I get maybe that you wanna. So he wants to watch the human extinction. He wants to see. He wants to be there when humanity is wiped out. Like, he's very clear about that. But while viewing the extinction of the human race, from the top of a hill, I would dig a hole in the earth and ejaculate into it over and over. Like, I can read this to you over and over, it doesn't matter. He ejaculated over and over too, but yeah, doesn't matter if I read it 1,000 times, it's still the same sentence. It's really weird. But finally, we need to talk a little bit about Sadako and about her death and the well and how all of that came together, because she's probably the truest main character in both adaptations of the story. It's weird to me that she was killed a child in the movie, because in the novel she gets to grow up and go to the city and do some acting and experience a little bit of the world before she gets off. But I guess they killed her young in the movie to get her to be a creepy kid. But that's where that came from? She's not a kid. Wait, I'm confusing myself. Is she a kid in the in Ringu? Or is it just in The Ring, in the American version, that she's like a 7-year-old girl? Like, I don't know where the fuck you got that from, but it works. I don't know, it does work. Like a creepy kid. Works. She's a woman and extremely powerful. Not really a woman either, you know? We're gonna get to that just right about now. Let's talk about her death. So in the movie, you get to watch this man push her down the well, and you definitely get the gist of it. Like, this was someone who killed her. She's in the well. In the novel, though, the person who does kill her describes the whole interaction in detail, from beginning, where he had no intention of touching her whatsoever, to where he gets overwhelmed with the urge to rape her and just going through the motions of that. And after he is done, he looks at her and he realizes, okay, she's gonna kill me if I don't kill her right now. And then he just, everything goes to black and he murders her. But before then, we get a tiny piece of information that was never provided in the movie that I honestly feel it really does not change anything. But when I read it, I was just like, everything I know is false. Like, I don't know. It doesn't really change anything, but you'll see. Alright, so here's... Oh, let me find it. I've marked it. Just the wording of this. Please, help me. Tell me I'm not the only one who thinks this is absolutely... I don't even know how I feel about it. It's just... Let's just look at this. This is right after the rape, okay? Her wrinkled gray skirt had bunched up around her waist. She had made no move to cover her breasts as she backed up. A ray of sunlight fell on the point where her thighs converged, clearly illuminating a small blackish lump. I raised my eyes to her chest, beautifully shaped breasts. Then I looked down again. Within her pubic mound, covered with hair, was a pair of perfectly developed testicles. Had I not been a doctor, I probably would have been shocked silly, but I knew of cases such as this from photos in medical text. Testicular feminization syndrome. It's an extremely rare syndrome, and I never thought I'd see one outside of a textbook. And then he says, Sadako was still staring at me. I was probably the first person outside her family to discover the secret of her body. Needless to say, she had been a virgin up until a few minutes previous. It had been a necessary trial if she was going to live on as a woman. I was trying to rationalize my actions. Then, suddenly, words flew into my head. I'll kill you. And that's Sadako, you know, threatening his life. And so he just... It's dark. It's really dark and disturbing and, like, on a different level than the movie. Because in the movie, she gets killed, put in the well, and that's pretty much it. And here it's just like... She also has... She knows this man through her mom. It's more complicated, you know? Better. Alright, I guess that was pretty much it. I would 100% recommend reading this book, but at the same time, if you really love the movie, I might not. It's a tough call. It's really tough because it gave me a lot, but it also took away some of the things that I had. Like, it's precious to me. The Ring, The Grudge. They're precious franchises to me, and I hope you found this somewhat interesting, and it's not really as produced, or I don't know, I didn't do as much research or pre-work for this one, but I just wanted to chat about the book for a little bit, and I got to do that, so thank you so much. Bye!